Welcome to our enlightening video, Permafrost and Carbon Bombs. We delve into the alarming issue of melting permafrost layers, which are releasing enormous amounts of trapped carbon into the atmosphere. Join us as we navigate through the frozen landscapes of Siberia, Alaska, Canada, and Norway, and discuss the potential impacts of these ticking carbon time bombs on our environment. Together, let's explore this pressing issue that is reshaping our world. Don't forget, understanding the problem is the first step to finding a solution. 1. Understanding permafrost, the frozen ground. Under threat, permafrost is like Earth's ancient freezer, stretching over vast regions, mainly near the North and South poles. It holds soil, rocks, and sub-zero water, remaining frozen for 2 years or more. Though seemingly stable, this frozen ground is immensely vulnerable to rising temperatures due to climate change. Think of it as the mattress that keeps ancient secrets tucked away safely. However, when it melts, those secrets are anything but friendly. The primary concern is the large amounts of organic material trapped within that release carbon dioxide and methane, potent greenhouse gases, as they thaw. This makes permafrost a ticking time bomb in the climate crisis, warranting worldwide attention and action. 2. Yodoma. Permafrost in Siberia. The carbon time capsule. Yodoma permafrost, concentrated in Siberia, acts like a time capsule, storing massive quantities of organic material from the last ice age. This unique type of permafrost is rich in carbon and unsettlingly thawing at increasing rates. As it thaws, it releases carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere, further amplifying global warming. The ripple effect acts like a domino, where one piece falls and the rest follow suit. The concern is not merely about the amount of gas, but how it can accelerate the warming process. Scientists liken it to opening a Pandora's box. Once open, controlling the contents becomes a Herculean task. If current trends continue, Yodoma permafrost could have dire implications on global climate patterns. 3. Alaskan tundra, a tipping point in transition. The Alaskan tundra is another hotspot rapidly changing due to permafrost thawing. This transition has begun in earnest, disrupting ecosystems that have thrived on frozen stability for millennia. The thawing permafrost releases greenhouse gases, which further destabilize these ecosystems. Imagine a house built on top of frozen soil. As the ground beneath it transforms to mush, the house inevitably collapses. Similarly, the changes in Alaska are affecting local communities and wildlife dependent on the frozen landscape. Though this web of life appears complex, the essence is simple. Without permafrost solidifying the tundra, the ecosystem collapses, paving the way to increased emissions of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. 4. Canadian Arctic permafrost, the crumbling infrastructure. In Canada, Arctic permafrost is thawing at a pace that raises alarm. The melting isn't just about releasing ancient carbon stores, it also jeopardizes the country's infrastructure. Buildings, roads, and pipelines built atop permafrost are susceptible to damage as their formerly stable base unravels. Picture building a skyscraper on a foundation that slowly turns to jelly. Catastrophic is an understatement. Beyond the structural concerns, the thaw releases additional carbon and methane, hastening the climate crisis. For Canada, and indeed the global community, addressing these changes is imperative. The twin challenges of infrastructure damage and environmental impact underscore the urgent need for focused intervention and adaptation strategies. 5. Eastern Siberian Arctic Shelf, the undersea permafrost hub. The Eastern Siberian Arctic Shelf is a unique location where underwater permafrost houses vast potential for methane release. These icy deposits are destabilizing, prompting fears of a methane surge from the seafloor. Underwater permafrost acts as a cap, containing vast quantities of methane hydrates. When it melts, Releasing this potent greenhouse gas becomes inevitable. Visualize the ocean floor as a tightly lidded pot, and warming waters are the flame underneath. Just as heat makes a pot boil over, warmer temperatures cause methane emissions to spike. The challenge lies in predicting just how large an effect this will have on global climate. Scientists watch closely, aware that the stakes are high and the timetable uncertain. 6. Norwegian permafrost. Coastal concerns. Norway's coastal permafrost is another point of concern, particularly for local marine ecosystems that find themselves at the mercy of warming trends. As these icy grounds thaw, they risk releasing methane hydrates into the surrounding seas. As with other examples, the consequences are both ecological and atmospheric. The maritime environment, once reliant on a stable permafrost layer, faces significant disruptions. Like knocking over one pebble in a delicate balance, the resulting shifts can encompass the whole local ecosystem. For Norway's Arctic shores, understanding and mitigating these effects is essential. They find themselves at the sharp edge of climate change, where marine life and carbon emissions intersect alarmingly. 7. Amazon rainforest. The deforestation dilemma. Shifting focus from frozen soils to warmer climates, the Amazon rainforest embodies a different kind of carbon bomb. Known as Earth's green lung, this vast ecosystem operates as a crucial carbon sink. However, deforestation and warming threaten to turn the Amazon from a carbon storehouse into a devastating carbon source. Picture the rainforest as a doctor keeping the Earth healthy by regulating its pulse. When humans cut down trees indiscriminately, they've essentially pulled Earth's lung into a cancerous state. The subsequent loss of absorption capacity for CO2 leads to more carbon being released than stored, accelerating global warming. The Amazon reveals a precarious balance between nature and human intervention, one that needs urgent redress. 8. Coal fields in the Powder River Basin. The American carbon cache. In the United States, the Powder River Basin represents a critical carbon reservoir, albeit with problematic potential. This vast area harbors significant deposits of coal that, when burned, release hundreds of gigatons of carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. Think of it as a gigantic storage locker filled to brim with greenhouse gases. Unchecked, tapping into this resource could devastate international efforts to curtail greenhouse gas emissions. It is not just about local benefits. Decisions made in the Powder River Basin hold implications stretching across the globe. Conscious efforts towards cleaner energy solutions are essential to prevent this carbon cache from becoming an environmental disaster. 9. Tar sands in Alberta. The climate challenge. The tar sands of Alberta harbor vast potential for economic profits, but pose a severe threat to climate stability. Extracting and burning tar sands are highly associated with substantial greenhouse gas emissions. It's the paradox of short-term gains versus long-term losses, acting like a siren call. While lucrative in the short run, reliance on tar sands fundamentally challenges the ambitious global climate targets set to prevent catastrophic environmental changes. As pressure mounts on intrepid leaders to act decisively, Alberta emerges as a flashpoint in the climate discussion. Emphasizing sustainable alternatives becomes critical in alleviating the impacts of exploiting such oil-rich deposits. 10. Vast peatlands in Southeast Asia. The silent emission sources. Southeast Asia's expansive peatlands stand as serendipitous carbon stores, though this status falters under human interventions. When drained or burned for agriculture or development, these once harmless terrains release their stored carbon, significantly increasing global emissions. Visualize the peatlands as the Earth's vault, safeguarding immense carbon wealth. Open this vault haphazardly, and the repercussions are immediately detrimental. Unchecked agricultural practices threaten to unbind these deadly emissions, making balanced land management policies indispensable to safeguarding global climate objectives. 11. Thar Desert Coal Reserves, a legal necessity. India's Thar Desert coal reserves appear as a sleeping giant, brimming with untapped carbon potential. The drive towards exploiting these resources has unavoidable consequences in releasing enormous quantities of carbon into the atmosphere. Picture the Thar Desert like a dragon's den, resting quietly, and any exploitation could poke the sleeping giant awake. For India, this exploitation is a double-edged sword, fulfilling economic needs while exacerbating global emissions. It stands as an urgent call for the balancing act of satisfying national interests and embracing sustainable energy. Throughout these examples, the challenges and consequences of permafrost thawing and pointed carbon bombs become evident. Prompt understanding and action are necessary to address these multifaceted aspects of climate change effectively.